Good evening, everyone. Today, my topic is understand the fundamental concept of security model, prepared by Jason and Harsharan. So, what will we be looking today? The topics will be the trusting computing base. What is that? Security parameters, reference monitors and kernels, state machine models, information flow model, and non-interference model. In the information security model gives an approach to formalize security strategies. Such models can be unique and instinctive, yet all are expected to give an express arrangement of tenets that a PC can pursue to execute the crucial security ideas, procedures, and methodology that make up a security strategy. These models offer an approach to extend your comprehension of how a PC working framework ought to be planned and created to help a specific security strategy. The data security model gives an approach to formalize security arrangements. Such model can be unique or instinctive, as I told you earlier. So the security model provides a way for designers to map abstract statement into security policy that recommends the algorithm and the data structure necessarily to build hardware and software. So the security model gives software designers something against which to measure their design and implementation. Now, let's explain some security models. So, this is the first security model, trusted computing base. Trusted computing base is the total combination of protection mechanism within a computer system. The TCP will enforce the security policy of the system and ensure it's not violated. TCP is the combination of hardware, software, and firmware, all working together to enforce computer security policy and increase the security of the system. Typically, when we are using a TCP, we have a perimeter that separates our TCP from any other object that are not trustworthy. In general, like TCP components in a system are responsible for controlling access to the system. So TCP must provide method to access resources both inside and outside TCP itself. So, for example, if we have a trusted computing based LAN which has a trust system of hardware, software, and firmware, then we have an interference that separates from TCP from any non-trusted software, hardware, and firmware. Then there is a security parameter that separates the TCP, keeping everything that is very secure from leaking into a non-secure system. The trusted computer is also responsible for monitoring several functions like input output operation, execution, domain switching, memory protection, and process activation. What is security parameter? The security parameter of a system is an imaginary boundary that separates the TCP from rest of the system. What this boundary does is that it ensures that there is no insecure communication between the TCP and the remaining parts of the computer. Suppose if the TCP wants to communicate with the rest of the system, it must create a secure channel called trusted paths. A trusted path is a channel built up with strict guidelines to enable fundamental communication to happen without presenting the TCP to security vulnerabilities. A trusted path projects ensure system users from bargain, thus as of TCP trade. Trusted paths are required in systems that seek to deliver high level of security to their users. Reference monitors and kernels. At the point when time comes to implement a secure system, it's basic to develop up some piece of TCP to implement it to control on a system resource and asset. The piece of the TCP that approve access to each asset preceding allowing access demands is known as the reference monitor. The reference monitor remains between each subject and object, verifying that and requesting subject's qualifications meet the object access requirements before any request are permitted to continue. If such access requirements aren't met, access requests are turned down. The reference monitor is access control enforced for the TCP. So the authorized and the secure actions are allowed to occur, but unauthorized and insecure activities and actions are denied and blocked from occurring. The reference monitor implements to control or authorization based the ideal security model, whether discretionary, mandatory, role based, or some other type of access control. The reference monitor might be a conceptual part of the TCP. It shouldn't be a genuine, independent, or standalone working system component. Reference monitor related concepts are access control policy, and security control. Now, state machine model. What is a state machine model? The state machine model portrays a system that is consistently secure regardless of what state it is in. It depends on the software engineering meaning of a limited state machine, FSM. FSM combines with an outer input with an inner machine to model a wide range of complex systems, including parsers, decoders, and mediators. Given info and a state, FSM advances to another state and may make a yield. Scientifically, the following state is a component of the present state and the contribution next state. That is the following state. Lots of security models are based on the secure state concept. According to the state machine model, a state is a snapshot of a system at a specific moment in time. If all aspects of a state meets the prerequisites of security strategy, the state is viewed as secure. Transition happens while accepting input or delivering yield. A transition dependably results in another state, likewise called a state transition. All state transition must be assessed. In the event that every conceivable state transition result in another secure state, the system can be known as a secure state machine. Framework that effectively executes a state machine model will, by definition, dependable, be in a protected state. Full name is limited state machine like FSMU. I've already told you about this. Information flow model. What is this? It means the information flow model spotlights on the flow of information. The information flow model depends on a state machine model. The information flow models are intended to avoid unapproved or limited data stream frequently between the various dimensions of security. The data stream can be among subjects and articles at a similar grouping level, just as among subjects and items at the various classification levels. A data stream display permits all approved data streams, regardless of whether inside a similar arrangement level or between classification levels. It keeps all unapproved data stream regardless of whether inside a similar grouping level or between a classification levels. This is an example of information flow model. So in this photo, you can see there is a customer. He places an order. So we received an order. Then the customer status, credit status is verified. It checks that it's good. Received the order. from customer. Then customer details product requirement, because you need to know the address, name, everything. Then dispatch the product to the customer, and then customer details the product dispatched, and then bill to the customer. Non-interference model. Last but not the least, this in exactly founded on Dataflow show. The non-interference is a strict multi-level security policy model, first described by Guyon and Michigur in 1982 and amplified further in 1984. In simple terms, a computer is modeled as a machine with inputs and outputs. The inputs and outputs are classified as either low sensitivity, not highly classified, or high sensitive, not to be viewed by unclear individuals. A computer has the non-interference property if and only if any sequence of low inputs will produce the same low outputs regardless of what the high level inputs are. This is if a low level means uncleared user is working on the machine, it will respond in exactly the same manner whether or not a high user means the cleared user is working with the sensitive data. The low user will not be able to acquire any information about the activities of the high user, which is the cleared user. The main role of non-interference model is that it ensures that any action that takes place at higher security level do not affect or interfere with actions that take place at a lower level. It is not concerned with the flow of data, but rather with a subject knows about the state of a system. For example, any person with a secret security clearance can access secret, confidential, sensitive, but unclassified and unclassified documents, but not the top secret documents. Also, to access a document within the security level, the person seeking access must also have a need to know for that document. Coordination model and non-information, non-interference, non-information distance property from investigation of a secure data flow, proposed in setting of a procedure. This is the references. This is what he contributed and I contributed towards this project. Thank you very much.